today we're gonna discuss Git and GitHub and how to work with it if you are not a developer, right? I want to start with something very basic. I want to tell you very basic things about Git and the difference between Git and GitHub. Git is a system, a tool to make some versioning of your files. You could, I don't know, maybe you write a book and you want to track your changes and you want to see the history, how you was writing this book, how like chapters were appearing. You want to, I don't know, get back to some content if you, I don't know, don't like what you wrote at the very end. You can easily go back in history and restore maybe a version from the past week or something like this. Yeah, in order to, like, let's start with Git, right? What is Git? Imagine we want to create a new project. Maybe we are writing a book. And like at the very beginning, we usually create a folder with your future project. For example, at Data Rockets, we have a number of like different text-based folders where we store some information. For example, we have playbook, and we as well have a career website. We store it on GitHub, and therefore we use Git to manage content in it. And yeah, imagine we are like creating a career website. Let's call this folder career, right? At the very beginning is just an empty folder, and let's say just initialized Git repository. Then maybe like at the very beginning, we want to add our first file, right? We create maybe a main file, let's call it README. And at the very beginning, it's, I don't know, very basic file with some content, maybe some paragraphs, some sentences, and yeah, that's how it looks, right? And when we think that we are done with a first version, maybe just a draft, or like we ending work for today, we want to, let's say, commit this file to repository. Right now we have empty folder, we added a new file to it, and we have empty repository, and we want to commit the file we just wrote to this repository. In order to do this, we create a commit. How does it look like? Well, we kind of get this file and put it into a commit, right? I'll write a square to represent the commit. Commit usually have some content. Basically, it's just, I don't know, files that were changed, and some lines in those files were added, and some lines in those files were deleted. I'll show you later on the real example, right? And besides files and changes in those files, every commit also have so-called hash. It's just a, I don't know, a string that looks like an ID of specific commit. And also every Git commit has some comment, so-called Git message. Usually in Git message, we describe what was done during this iteration, what was included in this specific commit. At the very beginning, at our very first commit, I would describe maybe like a draft of career repository, right? Because we just created a draft. Okay, we already have our README file in the repository, right? Then probably at the next day, we come to this file, we open this file in some editor, and we, I don't know, add some new paragraphs. And maybe we didn't like how a sentence looked like previously, so we like removed one paragraph from our README file we created yesterday. And that's possible. Like we opened the file, we edited it, removed some paragraphs or lines or words or symbols, and added some sentences, right? When we think that, I don't know, we are done maybe for today, or maybe for this hour, or maybe it's just a logical completeness of our work. Maybe we just like done with our first version, right? Then also we put it into a commit, right? Something like this. And maybe for our second commit, I would describe it done with first version, right? And we like go on, right? We can create more commits, and yeah, it will work fine. And yeah, that's basically what Git is, right? It's just we started with empty folder, and we started adding files, and we like we're changing those files. Maybe we could add like multiple files. Yeah, I'll show you later on a real example. Besides commits, in Git repository, we also have branches, right? I'll show you why we need them a bit later. But branch, let's call our Git repository have a main branch. Branch is just basically a pointer to specific commit, right? We can point at some commits. Maybe, I don't know, we could create a draft branch and point to our first commit. It's just for our, I don't know, just to use this Git repository easier and more convenient for us. And also our branches could be so-called current branches, right? It's a branch we currently sitting on. And like later, when we create one more commit in this repository, our current branch kind of moves with us, right? We added a new commit, and our main branch moved with us. For our convenience, and branch is very useful thing, you will see it later, we could create more branches. We don't like how many branches we want to have, right? And since it is our career repository, maybe I want to add a new vacancy to our career repository, right? And I just create a branch, let's call it mobile dev, right? I'll add a new vacancy for mobile dev here. And yes, this mobile dev branch points at the same commit the main branch points to. In order to work with mobile dev branch, we have to switch our current branch, right? So like we execute specific command, or we select the current branch in the UI and say right now, like we switch our current branch from main to mobile dev. Right. Later, when we add new commits to our repository, for example, like we created a new file for mobile dev, like we created a draft for mobile dev vacancy. The current branch points to the commit we just added. That is very, very useful thing. I know we continue working with this branch. Maybe we add a new commit. Maybe like we added a draft, then we asked our teammates to review it, and they asked us to do some changes, and we like adding those changes and create a new commit, right? Mobile dev goes with us. The current branch goes with us. Right. That's how our repository look like after all our changes. This is a Git repository, right? We also have GitHub. You probably heard about GitHub. What is GitHub? GitHub is a service or a server that could store our Git repositories, right? For example, we could put on the GitHub, we could put a copy of our repository. Right, so maybe this repository on the top is stored on our local computer, and the repository below is stored on GitHub. You can notice that only one branch we store right now, the picture I just drew. On GitHub, only one branch is stored. GitHub is very important, right? It's a place where we push our repositories and where we collaborate actually. Maybe we work on the same files with colleagues, and like while pushing repositories to GitHub, we could collaborate. We could work on the same files or on the same folder with files together. Right. What else I want to tell you? One more thing actually. The concept of merging, right? Let's say we change the current branch to main branch again. Right? Main branch is the branch that goes with us when we create new commits. Right? And let's say in the main branch we create a new commit, but that's not just a regular commit, it's so-called merge commit, right? Again, main branch goes with us, not main, like the current branch goes with us. Merge commit is a commit that is kind of combines two different branches together. If like in the main branch we had only one file, for example readme, then in mobile dev branch we created a new file, maybe it's I don't know, mobile dev vacancy or mobile dev job.md. We added like this vacancy to mobile dev branch, and then when we create merge commit, we combined those changes together, and like at the latest commit we have both changes. We have readme file and we have mobile dev job md file at the same folder. I will show you on a real example how it works actually right now. Yeah. So we was talking about like fictional career repository, but at Data Rockets we actually have a career repository, and you can see we already have 34 commits here. And what if like I'm a developer, I use Git repositories very often, but we also have non-developers at Data Rockets. What if they want to change this repository? Like here I am to tell you how to do this, right? And in order to begin, I will use, in order to edit files in those repositories, you can actually, GitHub has a pretty nice view. For example, at the top, we could see that like the current branch selected is master, and also we could see a content of our repository. It has two folders, and it has a readme md file here, and by default GitHub shows readme file at the it presents us very nicely on the repository page, right? Whatever we put in readme md file, it will be shown on the repository page in a nice way like this. So if you want to edit this, right, as I said, we may edit it on a local computer, but yeah, we maybe don't need to do this. We could use a feature of GitHub, so-called Codespace. Codespace is basically an editor in the cloud, which we could use, right? We don't want to install something on our computer and like configure Git, on our computer, maybe like we don't want to add some credentials and etc. Right? So we will use Codespaces. GitHub says that I have no active Codespaces, so I can't reuse nothing. So I'll create a new one. Yeah, preparing your Codespaces. Okay, it seems the repository was prepared and the editor was prepared, Codespace was prepared, so like we could use it, right? We don't need terminal for now. We won't write any code. We won't execute any commands. Codespace is basically a Visual Studio Code editor, but in your browser. Here we can see a source control plugin where like it says changes, but right now there are no changes. You will see they will appear. And again, also we have master branch here, right? As you can notice, the situation in our career repository is like what we had in what I showed you previously. In order to begin, I want to switch to a new branch, right? Since I'll be working on mobile dev vacancy, I'll create a new branch. Mobile dev job. It's called mobile dev job. And at the bottom we could see the current branch. Okay. We can go to like our editor file. What we want to change. Well, first of all, we want to add a new file to our jobs folder. Mobile developer MD. It will be a file with description of mobile dev vacancy. Right? We created an empty file. Let's add a header here. Mobile developer. Okay, and I save it. This is where I save it. I don't save it on GitHub. I don't save it in the repository. I save it somewhere in the cloud, which actually like it's a piece. It's like my local machine, but somewhere in the cloud. We could do everything I do here. We could do everything on our local machine in Visual Studio Code. But I decided to use Codespace, so you don't need to install anything on your computer, right? Yes, I added a new file. Let's add a to-do node. Write a description. Right. So when I go to source control tab again, source control plugin again, we could see that we have new changes. If we click on it, we could see that this file was empty. It was like just one empty string, or basically there was no such file as mobile devmd, and we just added 3 new lines, right? And that is good enough for our first version, for our draft. Right? In order to commit it to our like current branch, mobile dev job, we want what we need to do. Well, first of all, we need to add it to the commit, right? That's called stage changes. We need those stage changes because sometimes we could edit like 3 files, but we want to add only 2 files to the commit, right? So we would stage 2 files, and third file will be left in changes, and therefore won't be added to the commit we will just create. And in order to create a commit here in source control plugin in on what do you say, Codespace, we just need to write a message. Every commit has a message, as I told you before, and click on Command Enter, right? So let's say create draft of mobile developer job, and I hit Command Enter. Right, we just created our first commit, right? That was as easy as this. Okay, one commit was created. It is just exist in this code space. It doesn't exist on our GitHub. You can see that there is no mobile dev job branch. Sorry, we have mobile developer job branch here, but because Maria added it before. Yeah, but it's not the branch I just created. Okay, let's continue. We have a draft already committed to our repository, and maybe we just came to this file to change it, right? Maybe we want to add requirements section, right? And let's add our first requirement. What we gonna add to good knowledge of mobile operation system, Android or iOS. Right, we are looking for either Android or iOS developer. Would be great if we find a developer who could do both or have experience with both operation systems. And yeah, let's delete this to-do command and add some description. Curious and experienced mobile developer. Something like this. Again, we just changed this file, and I don't know, maybe we want to add we want to change a README. I won't change it much right now. I will just add a new link, mobile developer, right? Jobs, mobile developer MD. It's a link to our mobile developer site. Let's go to source control plugin, and you can see that two files were changed. If we click on README, we could see that there was empty line, but we added a new line here. If we want to see changes in our mobile developer job MD, we could see that one line was deleted and those lines were added. Something like this. And like we want to create a new commit, and for example, right now I don't care about changes in README. I don't want to commit a link from README to our mobile dev jobs vacancy because I haven't finished describing this vacancy. I'll add this link later. So I pressed plus button only for mobile developer job site, and again write a message for new commit. Let's say it's add requirements. Again, command enter, and here we go. README file still stays uncommitted, and that's what we wanted. Maybe we even want to discard those changes, right? We decided that, well, let's not do this right now. Maybe we will do this later. Right. So yeah, we created some content, changed some files. we could not only add files, we also can delete some files. For example, maybe we already hired our curious front-end developer, right? And we want to delete this file. So we click delete permanently, and we go again to our source control. We could see that in changes, we could see that like this file was deleted. It's cross-lined. What is the word for this line? Yeah, it's cross-lined, and we could see a letter D here. Means this file was deleted. Again, in order to commit this deletion, we should stage those changes and write commit description, right? Maybe we already hired a front-end developer, and that's why we removed this job. We write it like this: we already hired an excellent front-end developer, and we hit Command Enter. Here we go. We just deleted a file from repository and committed this deletion to the repository as well. Right, so we have this mobile dev job branch. We could check that it doesn't exist on our main branch. Again, Maria created mobile developer job and kind of messed up with my demo, and I picked the wrong name for an example, but yeah, here we are. Yes, what to do next? All those changes, I mean those 3 commits we added to the repository, they only exist in this Codespace. Or if you do it on your local computer, they only exist on your local computer. What we could do? Well, we want to kind of synchronize this branch with GitHub, with remote repository. And in order to do this, in Visual Studio Code, we have a button called Publish Changes, right? On your computer, maybe you would do this differently, but here we have Publish Changes button, or also we could click 3 dots button here, select branch, or could push, because we are pushing branch to remote server. Let's say we want to push this branch, right? Let's try. I'll click push. The branch mobile dev job has no upstream branch. Would you like to publish this branch? Okay, I would like. It means that on GitHub there is no mobile dev job branch yet, and I've just added, and I want to push it to GitHub so it will exist there. I click OK. It is going to be pushed. Ask me later. We go to our GitHub page, and we could see that mobile dev job had recent pushes less than a minute ago. So we pushed it a minute ago. Let's switch to it. We could click on it, and yeah, it gets selected here. And in order to see our changes, we go to jobs folder, because we were changing jobs folder, and we could open mobile developer, and that's what we added. Also, you may notice that there is no front-end developer file here, because we deleted it and committed. And in order to make sure that, I don't know, in order to just see our commits, this branch has 3 commits ahead of master. You could click on commits and see that we just all the commits we were creating. Create draft of mobile developer job, add requirements for mobile dev job, and we already hired an excellent front-end developer, right? This is 3 commits we just created. Okay, that's almost it for this guide. And but how do we, our main branch, it's called master right now, our main branch doesn't contain dependencies from this branch. And in order to, I don't know, in order to make our master branch to have changes we just added to mobile dev job, we need to merge those 2 branches. the way I showed you previously. And we have a number of ways to do this. Like we could do it manually, but I don't want to do it right now. Probably in Codespace we could actually do this manually. No, I don't know. I'm not a master of those source control. I use it. I don't use it usually. So one of the way is to do it manually, but we won't do this. We will do it differently. Maybe in order to, I don't know, maybe we created a mobile dev job description and we want our teammates to review our changes. Maybe we want to ask our teammates to, I don't know, add some requirements to this job description, or maybe just review something that we wrote, right? So we create, in order to ask them to review, we create so-called pull request, right? Click this button, mobile dev job, and you could see that this file was added, this file was deleted, and 3 commits that we added. And I want it, this is live repository of data rockets. I won't create pull request right now, and when I finish with the demo I will delete this branch. But actually Maria previously already created similar branch, mobile developer job, and you can see that there was some description. Pavel provided some comments and suggested some changes, something like this. So Maria created pull request. Why is it called pull request? Why the name is so weird? Well, it's kind of because we have 2 different verbs in Git. One of this is push and another is pull. Pull, when you push your branch, you kind of get your local branch and move it to remote server. Pull is like the opposite way. So it means just you ask someone to pull your changes. Someone who, like, maybe the maintainer of this repository, right? So, well, Maria created this pull request. She added, we can see that on the file changes tab, we can see that Maria added just 1 file and with this description, right? And yeah, she asked for review. People like get provided some comments, everything like this. And when we want to add this branch, or like merge this branch with our main branch, we can just use this merge pull request button. When we click it, this branch will be joined with our main branch, and all those changes will appear on our main branch in the main repository, and we will be able to see them on the main page. Either we will see it, if Maria would change README, we will see those changes in README. If Maria like created just 1 file in jobs folder, we will see this file in jobs folder. Yes, that's basically it for Git and GitHub. Let me know if you still have some questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.